Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us at the formal launch of our Urban Transformations Research Centre. Urban Transformations is Western Sydney University's newest strategic research initiative. I'd like to invite Nicholas Howie to welcome us to country. Nicholas is a proud Darug man. He's currently in his second year at Western Sydney University on his path to becoming a high school physics teacher. Nicholas has always had a love for teaching and learning with others. He is currently working as a school learning and support officer at a high school in the Lower Blue Mountains. From a very young age, Nicholas learned that knowledge is only as good as your ability to share it with others. And he seeks to apply this to every aspect of his life. This philosophy of sharing knowledge certainly unites us all. Thank you, Nicholas.
Bujari Gumara, good afternoon. Warami Walabalami, welcome wherever you have come from. As mentioned, my name is Nicholas Howie, and I am a proud Darug man of the Burruburungu clan, located in the Richmond Basin area. I'm also studying here at Western Sydney University to become a high school physics teacher. I'm very connected to this country. My ancestors have been here for over 80,000 years, and in that time, we've been the caretakers of this great land. For Aboriginal people, country is more than just a place to call home. Country is family. We care for our rivers, our trees, streams, and animals. In return, country gives us our shelters, our fresh water, our food, and all of the tools we need to survive. We look after each other. We keep each other healthy and safe. The very foundation of Aboriginal culture is centered in caring for our home. And this is where you come in. By researching new ways to transform our urban environments, we can ensure we don't lose sight of the spirit of our country. By launching this project, you observe one of the most fundamental aspects of Aboriginal culture. You are caring for our country by looking after her spirit as well as her health. When you do this, make sure you listen to country, listen to her people, and treat her with respect. And if you do that, you will always be able to call this place your home. So Warami, welcome. Welcome to my country and welcome to my home. May you all, Bajari Gumara, walk with good spirit. So Dijurigo, Yanajanawi, Bububul, Ngami. Thank you for walking with me and strengthening my spirit.
Thank you, Nicholas, for that generous gift of welcome. I'd like to introduce myself and my co-chair of this event. I'm Nikki Morrison, the Professor of Planning at Western Sydney University and a director of our research centre. My fellow director, Professor Greg Morrison, the Lang Walker Endowed Chair in Urban Transformation. We're often asked, and we'll clarify at the outset, no, we're not related. We have some brief housekeeping to run through at the outset, just for those in the room. Toilets are located near the lifts on all floors, but not in the foyer. The doors are hand activated. It's a state-of-the-art building, so like magic, they open. I had to qualify that. In the event of a fire or an emergency, we need to use the emergency exit stairwell by the lifts and vacate the building that way, as the central stairwell will be closed off with fire curtains. Today's launch of our research centre marks the final event of Western Sydney University's 2022 Research Week. Throughout this week, we've showcased our research excellence and, importantly, the work that we carry out with you all, our government, our industry, and importantly, our community members. Our Research Week this year has been titled Unlocking Possibilities, and this has real resonance with why we're all here today. Unlocking Possibilities sees a future for impactful and innovative solutions found here in Western Sydney. And we have many leaders in person with us today, right across the built environment, but other key professions. But the invitation has actually gone wider, with many people living and working in Western Sydney and beyond. We have live participants on live stream from across Australia and the globe. We welcome you all. And good morning to those on the other side of the world. I know they're there. Our intention today is to create an inclusive and interactive celebratory event. It is in Western Sydney University's foundational principles and guiding mission statement that we as an academic community champion our region. We're an anchor institution in Western Sydney, and we're committed to regional leadership, but also national and international leadership. And we're committed to delivering impactful research that makes a difference. A further endorsement of our commitment to making impact was marked earlier this year when the Times Higher Education Impact Rankings announced Western Sydney University as #1 in the world on achieving impact through the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Promoting social justice, inclusive education, equality, environmental stewardship, and resilience are at the core of our university's mission. And we're launching the university's newest research centre at a time when our community is calling out for accelerated action on climate change and demanding greater leadership and greater collaboration across all sectors. We've heard, and we're responding to that call. The urgency is greater than ever, and time is ripe to make impact at scale and right here in Western Sydney. Our region is experiencing firsthand many of the sustainability and resilience challenges of the 21st century. Rapid urban growth, extreme urban heat, and entrenched inequalities. And the destructive impacts of climate change are felt most intensively here in the western part of the Sydney Basin. The rapid succession of shocks like bushfires, heat waves, and floods are putting real pressure on our state and local governments already grappling with the needs of the growing and changing population in Western Sydney. And our region is growing and fast. Tens of thousands of new residents make this region their home every year. And yes, significant investment is taking place to provide jobs, homes, and infrastructure that our region needs, but we must make sure that what is planned and built today guarantees the future livelihoods and well-being of all of our local communities. And the question arises, do we have the best strategies in place to transform our communities and infrastructure into sustainable, equitable, and resilient futures? A year ago, at our Urban Living Futures Research Week, we made a commitment to ongoing research and collaboration with our partners to tackle the wicked urban challenges that our region faces. And we're honoring that commitment today through establishing the Urban Transformations Research Centre dedicated to this task. Tackling wicked urban challenges goes beyond the capacity of any one organisation, and we can't rely on quick fix or single focus solutions. We require the commitment and coordination of multiple organisations, stakeholders, and our communities, working together and in much more collaborative and innovative ways. Our centre's mission is to deliver action-oriented outcomes based on real-life exemplary demonstration of research and innovation. And we're working closely with our university's enterprise team, led by Tim Horan and Don Wright, who are here in the audience, and our estate and commercial team, led by Bill Parasis, who's equally here. And we're leveraging our Western Growth Program. This is a large-scale, transformative program, repurposing our campus network and assets. And we're keen to showcase to the rest of Australia and the world our sustainable innovation precincts, our demonstration projects that we're co-creating with our partners who are also here today. Penrith Sustainable Innovation Community, Hawkesbury Circular Economy Lab, and many more examples across our 12 campuses here in Western Sydney. And the proof is right before us. Our centre is located here on level 5, and our near neighbour is the launch pad on level 1. In this state-of-the-art building, the university's Parramatta Engineering Innovation Hub, which our New South Wales Premier recently opened. This is great collaborative space where we will co-design hard-hitting research agendas and develop problem-solving programs of research together with you. A key feature of our action-oriented approach is that our industry and society partners will have associate status with our centre. You will drive which projects we should prioritise, and together we'll strategize on the emerging issues and how we can solve the complex challenges that our contemporary built environment faces. To demonstrate that action speaks louder than words, today we'd also like to announce our centre's external advisory board, and many are here in the front row. We're honoured that each of these high-profile individuals has agreed to back our university's exciting strategic research initiative. Each totally understands our centre's mission in supporting our communities and infrastructure to be sustainable, equitable, and resilient, and that we need to come together to achieve this. Our board will provide critical ongoing advice to identify future directions and strategic opportunities for our centre. Each brings a wealth of experience, is highly regarded, and are proactive individuals. And we know they'll work hard with us. And we particularly like to thank Monica Richter for agreeing to be the chair of our board. Monica is acting head of the Climate and Food Security team at WWF Australia. Not only is she highly qualified, but Monica is actually a proud Western Sydney University alumnus, which is an added bonus. I will now hand over to Greg to outline the Centre's strategic programs of work that we've been developing with our partners. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. So our centre's action-oriented approach will enable the delivery of research and innovation at scale, and at scale is important. Let me now take you through what we consider that contemporary transformative research is all about. Put the slide up. We've developed 3 interrelated research and innovation programs which, to provide impact at scale, need to fulfill 2 criteria. The first criterion, we adopt a transdisciplinary approach. Transdisciplinarity is the key to creating that close relationship between the pressing issues that industry and society face and the research and innovation projects and programs that we implement in real-life situations. The second criterion, we will harness research expertise across the university to deliver research and innovation. We're starting with the important nexus between the social sciences and the environmental and engineering sciences. We're engaging with our architects, urban planners, engineers, but the key component is that we're working with all across the university. Our research centre is an outward-facing platform, and our remit is to create the appropriate Western Sydney University teams to tackle these pressing issues. Based on these criteria, there are 3 research and innovation programs. The first, systems innovation and demonstration. A serious hindrance to the ongoing large-scale urban transformations of energy, water, resource and transport systems is the difficulty in aligning governance structures at scale. We need to address these governance challenges and overcome stakeholders' concerns over the perceived risks of system innovation. This programme draws on Western Sydney University's expertise in life cycle and circular economy assessments, as well as urban metabolism and net zero analysis. The second area, people-centred sustainable precinct design. I mentioned people is important. We, the people, are challenged in our everyday lives by the extremes of a changing climate. And as Nikki said, these extremes are felt acutely in Western Sydney. We require that the places in which we live should be healthy, inclusive and resilient. This programme draws on Western Sydney University expertise in urban planning, design thinking, health and environmental sciences. We will develop and test innovative sustainable design solutions. We will showcase how to deliver sustainable design at the different levels of scale, from the home to living labs, to precincts and to the city. And the third research and innovation programme is resilient construction and infrastructure. The very fabric of our society, our homes, our workplaces, our transport systems are challenged by extremes in climate, but in parallel, these systems need to move towards low embedded energy and carbon. We need to meet increasingly stringent and time-constrained net zero targets. This programme draws on Western Sydney University expertise in construction management, advanced and emerging materials, sustainability in construction, and of course, more recently, in meeting net zero targets in construction. These programs have substantial leadership behind them through Nikki and myself, but also Professor Sarah Zhang, who's the Deputy Director of the Institute. She's here somewhere. We also have Professor Sebastian Rausch, who many of you know from his work on heat islands. Professor Paul Sanders, I can see him somewhere here, an architect, and Dr. Kathy Tanous, who's in business, all of whom are here today. We also have associated research fellows, and they've all got red shirts on, like myself, so you'll be able to mingle with them afterwards. Dr. Nama Blattman-Thomas, Dr. Kamyar Kamzari, Dr. Maria Rashidi, and Dr. Pejman Sharifi. They're working closely with us, and as I mentioned, they've got the polo shirts on. And today we can also announce that we're establishing 3 research fellow positions, each with a 5-year duration in the first instance. These research fellows will be the driving force of the centre. They are our future sustainability leaders. They will carry forward our action-oriented approach under the guidance of that leadership team. As part of the first transdisciplinary criterion, we've developed a systematic approach to bringing together the issues and challenges faced by you all here today. We've already commenced this dialogue with our external stakeholders through our partnership with Climate Kick Australia, and many of you have been consulted prior to this event, and the last I saw there was 25 external people who've been consulted. We're asking the question, what are your issues and how are we going to work together? It's as simple as that, but systematically. Today we announced the first iteration of the report with the establishment of the Centre's industry and society ecosystem. This systematic consultation process will be ongoing. If we haven't already, we'll be reaching out to you, or reach out to us, even better. We'll bring in the ecosystem together with events and roundtable discussions through next year and thereafter. In parallel with creating the Centre's industry and society ecosystem, we've been working across our university, engaging, mapping and mobilising the researchers to meet the greater challenges of urban transformations. Soon we'll be sharing with you our Unlocking Possibilities report. You have the summary version on your chairs, 4-page so far. Again, this is an ongoing process as we bring our university's researchers together and respond to the emergent issues coming out of the industry and society ecosystem. We're also off to a fast track to the centre with larger scale initiatives, and this is longer initiatives is what we're going to be working with. So we're looking for the 10-year horizon through to the net zero for 2030, which we will also share with you very soon. So watch this space. A taster for now, we're developing exciting initiatives such as waste as a resource, electrification of precincts, climate adaptation, and net zero cities, showcasing Western Parkland City as our key exemplar city here in New South Wales. Some of you here today are already involved in these initiatives, and we are planning to engage many of you as we continue to develop them. So again, don't wait for us to contact you, tap us on the shoulder. Thank you.
And further to Greg's presentation, let's now focus on a key ingredient to unlocking possibilities, and that is collaboration. We've invited some very important people to join us in a fireside chat. The Honourable Rob Stokes, New South Wales MP, Minister of Infrastructure, Minister of Cities and Minister of Active Transport. Meg MacDonald, the Environment Commissioner of Greater Cities Commission, and our very own Vice Chancellor and President of Western Sydney University, Professor Barney Glover. And we've also invited Monica Richter, our new External Advisory Board Chair, to facilitate this conversation. Thank you, Monica, and all of you.
So a fireside chat assumes a level of kind of relaxation and intimacy as we engage in the conversation around there. Oh, yes, there is indeed. And I guess one of my core values is collaboration and the importance of working together to address some of the very serious challenges that we face as a nation. And I guess the setting up of this urban transformation research centre looking at inclusive, sustainable, resilient cities. So as we sort of think about those issues and our audience here, Meg, maybe I'll start with you. And, given your role in the Greater Cities Commission, and the big challenges around net zero and beyond, we're talking sometimes organisations are talking about absolute zero, climate positive, that's a big job. It's a really big job for us as a nation to grapple with. It's a really big job as a state to grapple with, let alone, the city. I'd be really interested in some of your perspectives on how do you think, what are those key levers for change that are going to be enabled through the work that you're doing?
Thanks very much, Monica, and it's great to be here, and congratulations to everybody in the centre. For those of you who are not familiar, the Greater Cities Commission has strategic planning responsibility for the 6 cities region, which recently has been described from the Lower Hunter through the Central Coast, through the 3 cities in Greater Sydney, and the Wollongong and the Illawarra. And so for the New South Wales as a state, this whole 6 cities region really is at the core of the decarbonisation agenda because of the big challenge that we have in not net zero by 2050, but actually a 50% reduction by 2030. Now that's only 85 months away. That's not even a building site cycle. But we really have in the state government a huge program underway of addressing this emission reduction, and it's an absolutely comprehensive program, and it does impact very greatly the way we grow and build and operate our cities, because 59% of our emissions actually come from the use of electricity in the city. So the biggest thing that we can do between now and 2030 is electrify everything. So move to renewable energy, number one, so decarbonise our supply, but actually then roll out greater use of that decarbonised energy to replace not only the stationary energy that we're using in our homes, but actually our transport too. So electrifying transport is, and decarbonising transport is the big task ahead of us, and that's the big lever that the state government is trying to pull. The role for us in planning is then to be the anticipators of that, creating the facilitative environment for that change to actually take place, having the regulatory structure in place, and actually trialling and using our purchasing power, but as state and local government, as well as large corporates involved in actually pushing that change through and making it real. So that's why it's incredibly important that this theme of collaboration in the centre is really part of what we're trying to do at the Cities Commission in actually really trying to drive that change all the way through the community. The other part that's really important is dealing with waste. 14% of our emissions come from organics in waste, in landfill. There is another huge opportunity that we through collaboration at state and local and business can actually do to change all of that. And that's part of what we're trying to do in this plan as well. And there's a lot to do and only 85 months to get it achieved.
As Minister Chris Bowen likes to remind us, isn't that right? So I'm getting a bit hot here. This fire is quite warm. So, Mr. Rob Stokes, it's wonderful to have you here. And as we've talked about the importance of government as a key lever and decision maker, procurement driving these as well, but there's a really serious issue around how we create an equitable change towards a resilient and decarbonised future. And, you know, given, I guess, you know, you as Minister for Cities and Transport, thinking about how do we make this change as comprehensive and fair and equitable for people of Western Sydney?
And they're big questions, and it's great that Western Sydney University is leading the charge on answering these questions, because Western Sydney is right in the crucible of facing all of these challenges. But there is a bit of a paradox, because at the same time as we want to decarbonise and meet all these sustainability goals, at the same time we want to meet people's basic human needs as well. I think the answer is we like to categorise things and set them in contradistinction to each other. The fact is we can decarbonise and meet people's basic needs. The two aren't necessarily opposed to each other. Years ago, it was thought that growing an economy and energy use were two sides of the same coin, that you had to use more and more energy, and that was a proxy even for economic growth. And then from the 70s, they realised, oh, hang on, we can decouple these two things and we can grow our economy and reduce our energy use. The same way we can increase the affordability of our homes by making them cheaper to operate. So the Net Zero Cities Action Plan, just released this week, demonstrates that actually if we go for more sustainable forms of building, we can reduce household energy bills by $1,750 a year, and that's been modelled and costed. Similarly, by switching to an electric vehicle, you can save $1,000 a year. But even better, some of the more transformative and contrarian views are, well, actually, rather than just going from a combustion engine car to an electric car, if we design our cities better, maybe you can do without an additional car, and then you're not saving $1,000 a year, you're saving $10,000 a year. And so, you know, we've really got to challenge our thinking. But in this, I think there's this view that, oh, that means that you know, we're going to make people's lifestyles worse, or we're going to, you know, more sustainable buildings are more expensive, or these are conceits of, you know, of the propertied or moneyed classes. No, it's actually the opposite. This is making life better for people and more affordable for people by providing better choices to them.
Great. And so, Professor, you have here the helm of the Western Sydney University and the brains behind this opportunity. the university #1 on the Sustainable Development Goals, which is, I mean, a very exciting opportunity to really bring leadership, not just for Australia, but also for the world and vice versa, to share those knowledge. So what role do you think and how do you want to collaborate with the people of Western Sydney to really help make it a thriving and resilient area?
No, thank you, Monica, for the question. And it's great, first of all, great to be here launching the Urban Transformation Research Centre. Congratulations to Greg and Nikki and Sarah and the team involved in it. Perhaps this is, in fact, if anything, an overdue development. Something I know Rob and I have talked about over the years, about the importance of Western Sydney University in particular having a voice in urban transformation, and the establishment of, with the great support of Peter Poulet, our architecture school was a first step in saying, let's start to have this conversation. Let's lead the conversation. Let's influence what urban transformation might mean. You can't do that unless you're engaging the communities, the businesses, the local government, the state government, the federal government in a collaborative way around what the challenges are. And I think we had a great presentation from Greg and Nikki about just what this research centre is going to tackle. And I wanted to highlight a few things about it because it comes to your question about how we're going to engage. First of all, it is incredibly multidisciplinary. You can't address any of these challenges. And Meg outlined just this. I know in one way it's relatively straightforward to say 59% of the contribution is through one or other particular challenge we might face. And electrification is key. But then this is a complex challenge to bring about in 85 months or even longer. So we need to get the disciplines together. We need to right across the board. This is true of all the wicked problems in the publications we're seeing. We can't just rely on one discipline group. The engineers cannot save the day alone. They need architects and urban planners. They need social scientists. They need people with a deep understanding of history as well as our scientists and environmental scientists in particular. So it's a multidisciplinary problem, and that makes it exciting in some ways. I think it's also really important to reflect on where we are in having this conversation, not just in Western Sydney, but we're here in Parramatta. And this is a great vista behind us about urban transformation, not all of which we might say meets all of the criteria of what great urban transformation might look like, but it is extraordinary to have it behind us. And the Minister and I were just talking about one small piece of that, the green space right behind us at Lansdowne Barracks. And it is a very small piece of green space in a great city, but it typifies what we need to do to have sustainable, resilient cities. We need to preserve and extend and develop our green space. And the Parramatta 2035 report that I put together with the Centre of Western Sydney attempts to address a whole range of issues about where Parramatta is now, and the Premier's desire to see Parramatta as a truly global city by 2035 and what more we need to do. But this is not a bad spot with this backdrop to be talking about urban transformation, about the 6 cities, and about the future and collaboration. So it is key to it, but there's a leadership dimension as well, perhaps to finish on, that I think is really important. It's not that long ago, 2014, early 2014, that we had a federal government with the support of the opposition talking about a new airport in Western Sydney, the Nancy Bird Walton Western Sydney International Airport. Now that was a pivotal moment for our region. And as a result of that, through the investment of Rob's government and federal government and cities deals and all sorts of things, we've seen that airport come to life. It's still a few years away from planes taking off and landing, but it has catalysed a huge amount of investment in public transport in particular, in hospital precincts in particular. So we need this leadership concept, and it has to be led by governments, absolutely, but also by organisations like universities. And I'm proud of the fact that we're now 100% green energy. That's a small step, but an important step in our journey, our aspirations around not just net zero, but climate positive in a whole range of ways. I've just come with a number of colleagues in the room from opening our Westmead Innovation Quarter with Minister Husick, Federal Minister for Industry and Science, in a 6-star Green Star building, which is like the bottom line entry point for the way new buildings have to be created in Western Sydney, and also to be a climate active certification process underway. So we are pushing the boundaries on our infrastructure. We can't wait for government. We can't wait for decisions and regulation. We need to push forward and lead the community. And you can only do that in collaboration and in dialogue and in having, to bring it full circle, an urban transformation research centre with the sort of capacity we have, because that's where these conversations are going to go on.
Absolutely. And I think one of the key elements to this is how do we think about the future jobs and the employment opportunities for this region as well. And, I'm really heartened to hear that that Western Sydney Parkland precinct is looking at advanced materials research program, and that will attract people to go into that area more. So, Minister, I'd be interested to hear, how do you see the prospects around Western Sydney and really building out that employment, the future employment opportunities for young graduates and school leavers? We've got our physics teacher here who's going to be bringing the next cohort of science students in. I'd be really interested in some comments from you on that.
I think the challenge is we're often locked to planning the jobs of the future based on the jobs of the past. And so we go back to the past for reassuring models of how we expect people to work into the future. The only certainty about that is it's entirely wrong, and that particularly the role of universities is shifted incredibly. It was not that long ago that only a small minority of people went to university. Now it is increasingly attainable to everyone in our society, but even that itself is only the start of an educational journey in tertiary education or vocational education, or flipping between the two. The age when you got a certificate, you stuck it on the wall and you said, there's my education, it's sitting there, long past us. Education is a verb. It's something we do for the rest of our lives, and we're constantly retraining, and everything we do is education. And I think we're only actually at the start of understanding that education is something all of us need to do all of the time, and that will be reflected in the nature of our jobs journey, which will be entirely different. I'm a little bit dismayed that and that's the nature of election campaigns, you sort of go back to things that play to people's fears or insecurities, but some of it's going back to we need to focus on manufacturing locally, which is a wonderful thing to do, and of course we should do it. But the nature of manufacturing is not what people assume when they think of local manufacturing jobs. It's not about sort of factories with workers like battery chickens sort of arrayed across the factory floor. They're largely automated. They don't have the jobs. If that's the jobs solution, it's not a solution. It's based on high skilled jobs, creativity, on human services, on all those sorts of things. That's where the jobs, and particularly the sorts of jobs that we want our children to have and our grandchildren to have, they're the sorts of jobs that provide real opportunity. And that's where we're going to be exporting ideas and those sorts of things, which I think I think we've got to not look to the past for our model of what future jobs are going to look like.
Yeah, no. Completely agree with that one. So Meg, I guess I want to shift tack a little bit as you're the Environment Commissioner, and sort of start to think about biodiversity and how important ecosystem services are to us as humans, the connection between humans and nature, but also the ecosystem services that are provided to us. And we know at a time when we're seeing significant impacts on biodiversity loss, people coming into Western Sydney not really appreciating necessarily, how important the environmental value is in this area, but we want to invest more. You talk about green space here, just for our spiritual connection, let alone our ecosystem services. The environment is important. So, what are some of the things we can do to help really have the amount of, the increase in the population that we expect in this area, but also to manage some of those environmental and ecosystem services values?
Well, it's very interesting that you frame it that way, Monica, because one of the things in thinking about planning for the whole 6 cities region is the enormous gift that we have in this being situated in this country, and the enormous diversity that we have across the whole region, but the way in which that rich natural heritage is shared across different cities. So people from the coastal regions go to the mountains for recreation and valuing the natural environment, as much as people from Western Sydney go to the southern beaches along the Illawarra to actually for their coastal experience. So that interdependence that we have on the one large ecosystem is something that really has been brought out very much in our early discussion paper that we have out in thinking about how to plan for the whole region. And one of the things that is absolutely important and central around that is the equity of access between different parts of the city to green space and for recreation, but also for the impact that that has on urban heating as well. And really being one of the things that I think we do want to address is the inequality in tree cover and the accessibility of the green grid. I know the Minister's been doing an enormous amount of work in this area in some of the denser parts of the city, but we've really also got to think about the access to beyond the denser parts of the city into the beautiful natural environment and preserving it as we go, because it's a huge part of our tourist economy, both domestic and international, and it's a very, very important part of our employment brand as a set of 6 cities as well. It's that identity and building that identity around country, which is so absolutely important. And we've got a lot to learn from our First Nations in how we actually go about doing that and framing it and thinking about the values that we get from it.
Yeah. And so, Barney, I guess sort of coming to the conversation around First Nations, and, you know, we've got a conversation going nationally around the Uluru Statement of the Heart, and in this region, you know, the Darug people and the importance of really valuing Indigenous culture. How does the university and the work that you do locally sort of make that contribution, and how do you want to see First Nations people really engage and involved in the transformation process that we're embarking on here?
Well, we need as many Nicholases as we can possibly find for a start. Indigenous physics teachers, we need as many as we can find, and so there's a challenge here, though, to ensure that we can continue to attract and retain and ensure that Indigenous Australians graduate from tertiary education. If you look at the challenges around closing the gap in Australia, one of the areas, unfortunately few, but there are some areas that shine brightly, and one is the benefit of tertiary education to Indigenous Australians. So the challenge is not just to attract more First Nations people into higher education, but to ensure they get the support and assistance they need to graduate and move into the workforce and contribute. So our role, and we have now nearly 900 First Nations students at the university, so we're very proud of them and supporting them. Michelle Trudgett, our Deputy Vice-Chancellor Indigenous Leadership, is doing a wonderful job in changing the nature of our engagement with our communities, as well as the way we nurture and support our students and the research we undertake, because there's an evidence base here to everything we're doing, and it's as true in this case. And this is an important year. It's important in the context of urban transformation, because that is about place, and it's about changing the nature of places in a variety of ways. And these are the traditional lands of the First Nations people. So they have to be intimately involved in the conversation. There's no doubt about that. Equally, the voice to Parliament that will lead to a referendum in Australia is another important element of this next 12 to 15 months in this country, and the conversation we need to have. So place is vitally important, and we certainly need to do that in the most engaged way possible. And I think we're beginning that series of conversations with Michelle, and I'm sure that Nikki and Greg and Sarah will bring that richness to the work of the Urban Transformation Research Centre. I think the other point I'd like to make is to follow up on Rob's comment about the changing nature of jobs and employment in this country, and absolutely we cannot look back. All of the evidence tells us that the jobs of the future are going to be not just one career path, multiple career paths. We know that. So, and people don't even anticipate the job they might have in a few years' time. So that's absolutely crucial. Universities and vocational training has to change. And I do give credit to the government for the introduction of the Institutes of Applied Technology, just as one concept, a more flexible, modular way of engaging vocational training and higher ed together, working flexibly with industry to generate the jobs of the future when they're needed, when the skills are needed, rather than sort of sitting back and saying, well, look, we'll start educating people and hopefully in 4 years, they'll be well and truly ready for the workforce. Well, they have to be ready in 6 months, 3 months, or tomorrow. So I think there's some really interesting things happening, and I'm looking forward to the next few years, but at the core of it, engagement with our First Nations communities.
Thank you. So we're about to wrap up our fireside chat together. I have to say, you know, my experience in Western Sydney University doing my master's degree in social ecology, it changed my career, changed my life completely. I learnt about systems thinking and the importance of those collaborations and deep engagement. So I'm really privileged to be invited to sort of chair the research unit. So we've been asked one final thing for our fireside chat before we are dismissed, and that is to, I guess, present one bold idea that we want to see occur in Western Sydney, and perhaps it'll be one of the ideas that's taken up as we start to work through what the priorities are for the research centre. So, Minister.
Well, starting, I mean, I don't want to take the Lancer Barracks because I know Barney will take that one. So how about this? A city in a park rather than parks in a city. That's a way to reconceptualise. We've got an incredible canvas of Western Sydney, more than 8,000 square kilometres. How we can possibly think of it as one place? It's a whole series of places. It's vast. I mean, it's about the same size as Tokyo, Yokohama. That's got what, 40 million people. So we've got this incredible luxury of land. I know it's ironic, therefore, that we've got so much land and affordability is such a challenge, but let's use our land thoughtfully. All these forgotten rivulets and drainage corridors and riparian reserves and bits and pieces of leftover land, we can reimagine this place as a city in a park.
So we're going to be digging trees in the ground, hey? And
Already started.
Very good. Meg.
Well, my big bold idea would be Western Sydney as the first climate positive city in Australia.
Very nice. And
well, I like both of those, and I do love the fact that Lancer Barracks will be no longer a defence asset in the same way it is now, open to the public as green space. But look, coming out of the Parramatta 2035 report and picking up on Meg's comment about the importance of the Minister around public transport, so we don't need a second car. Let's make it easier to move around our city. Despite all of the investment we've made, Western Sydney is not easy to get around, and we've got to solve that problem. I know active transport is something you're passionate about, and ensuring that Parramatta and Western Sydney has much more of that. If we're going for faster rail, which I think we should go fast rail. I'd like to see Parramatta as the St Pancras of the Southern Hemisphere with fast rail popping up here in a massive transport network to give us public transport connectivity right across the west.
we've got some connections to Infrastructure New South Wales, perhaps?
Not really, no. I work with them on the powerhouse, which is very good.
And I guess my idea is to, given the importance of building resilience into Western Sydney, is looking at a large retrofit program over a number of years to help retrofit the existing homes, particularly those that haven't been built as well as we might have hoped over the last few years. So thank you very much. Been delightful. Please give everyone a clap. Stay there.
Thank you for that discussion. I think we could all agree that they're not only passionate leaders, but they're also incredibly authentic leaders. That very much came across. And in the spirit of collaboration, we'd like to encourage you all to add into the Menti poll your own one bold action to unlock possibilities here in Western Sydney. And we're keeping open the Menti for 24 hours after the event to allow you more time to offer your suggestions. And importantly, we'll be collaborating and collating and sharing these actions afterwards with you all. And please feel free to write as creatively as you like. So now the time has finally arrived for us to officially launch our Urban Transformations Research Centre. And we have the Honourable Rob Stokes to mark this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. Thank you all, particularly the staff and most importantly, the students at the centre. Thank you for the efforts you have already made and even more importantly, the efforts you are going to make in future to solve the complexity of urban problems and challenges that confront us. If I might start with an indulgence, I just wanted to briefly thank so much, Nicholas, for your such a profound and poetic and beautiful and welcoming welcome to this country. As a politician, I get to listen to a lot of different acknowledgements or welcomes to country, and yours was just so beautiful and made me really think, and I think I speak for everyone to say thank you so much. So thank you. And if you can tell all your friends to be physics teachers too, that would be really good. We definitely need them. Look, I just wanted to pick up on something that Monica actually said when she talked about her experience as being a master's graduate from Western Sydney University and her exposure to systems thinking. Because system thinking is a really good way to conceptualise how we think about cities and urban problems. It's interesting, isn't it, that humans are the cause of urban problems, but we are also the solutions to the problems that we created. I think when Rittel and Weber were talking in the 70s about wicked problems were those were created by human interventions, but could only then be managed by more human interventions. So systems is a great way to think about our cities because in many ways, I think it was Patrick Geddes who came up with that Scottish urban planner, very dour Scotsman, who said that cities were not like a Cartesian machine, but rather an organism. And like an organism, a city is made up of a whole series of systems, whether it's the skeletal system, I don't know what that might be the housing, the circulatory system, no doubt transportation, the drainage system might be the kidneys, the sewage system might be the intestines, but we won't go there. But in all of these systems, one impact on one of the systems can change the others. Well, one of the things we need to think about, thinking about the metabolism of cities and how we digest energy, is ultimately how we digest less and how we are more efficient in the way we digest the energy that goes into powering our cities in the most efficient way possible. And in the same way that, I mean, look, our public health budget, more than 80% of it is spent treating non-communicable diseases. Things like type 2 diabetes, things like cardiovascular disease. The answer to so much of these challenges is actually using less energy, getting out and walking a bit more, or providing opportunities where it's safe, particularly for vulnerable people in our community, to get out of their cars and walk around a bit. It'll save them money, save them their waistlines, and help save the planet as well. But some of the more thoughtful things we can think about the metabolism of cities are some of the problems that this incredible institute will be able to look at, or this research centre rather will be able to look at. I think that Barney should be so proud that that Western Sydney University is ranked #1 in terms of its commitment to the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I'd encourage you to have a quick look at these goals. They're very simple to understand, but enormously complex to deliver. But they're actually about solving the challenges of justice to all of us and to our future citizens. And I think it's goal number 11 relates to sustainable cities and human built environments like Western Sydney. So this Urban Transformation Research Centre speaks directly to Western Sydney University's commitment to address the Sustainable Development Goals, which is really a recipe book to how to cure the ills facing humanity. And if we want to fix the body politic that's the organism of our city regions, I've talked about the various systems. Well, you need a brain to direct future action. And when thinking of all the different systems that an organism like a city relies upon, it needs a brain. It needs thoughtfulness. It needs a brain to direct future activity and to come up with solutions to retrofit problems that human interventions created in the past. And the brain is here. It's all of you. It's the Urban Transformation Research Centre. So I'm so proud to be here as part of the launch of this incredible centre. And I'd like to wish everyone in the room, and particularly the students and the staff, every success and really encourage you. The work that you are doing is one of the most transformative things that we can be doing. It's about creating great new opportunities for justice, for social equity, for fairness, for yourselves, for your families, for our neighbours and for future generations. And what could be more important than that? Thank you.
Thank you, Rob, for formally opening our centre. And now some more thank yous. I'm actually reversing the orders here, because actually I want to thank Nicholas first of all, because I think he set the tone of this event for that wonderful gift of welcome. We have a little something coming forward. You didn't expect that. We'd also like to express our thanks to our special guests, Rob Stokes, Meg MacDonald, and Barney Glover. We don't let. And we'd like to thank Monica Richter for agreeing to be the chair of the Centre's External Advisory Board, but also for facilitating this debate. And thank you to our board, who we know will now guide us from this establishment phase to unlocking future possibilities together. And we have special thanks, if she's still here, to Deborah Sweeney. She is, I think, our Deputy Vice Chancellor and Vice President of Research, Enterprise and International, who made all this happen. And big thank you to all those who've helped us get ready for the launch, but particular thank you to Nicole Gizmondo, our Centre Manager, although she won't want to stand up, Callie Prince, our Event Manager, Cecilia Devine, our Administrative Assistant, and thank all of you for being here. Before we roll up our sleeves and get down to work, let's go celebrate. Thank you.